Events behind this school fence in East Birmingham have gripped the nation.
They live here. They should do what English people do. Go to school, learn English ways. They don't like it. They can always go home.
The British Education Oversight Authority, known as Ofsted, found that conservative Muslim governors had exercised inappropriate influence over school activities at the Old No Academy, a secular primary school where 99% of the school children are Muslims. A June inspection concluded that school governors had been promoting a narrow faith-based ideology. The report said a Christmas party had been cancelled, a tombola was banned for being un-Islamic, and school funds were used to subsidize a trip to Mecca for Muslim pupils. Teachers said they kept quiet for fear of losing their jobs. The school denies charges. It promotes extremism. On its internet site, it said Ofsted had found no evidence of strict Islamic practices in the school, and it rejected claims that any member of staff altered the curriculum in an attempt to deceive inspectors. The row over religious ideology in schools has long been brewing here in Birmingham, a city where more than 1 in 5 was born outside Britain. Around 40% of the population come from a migrant background. Many families have ties to former British colonies like Pakistan and Bangladesh. Here in the inner city area, Small Heath, most residents are Muslim. Many parents want their culture to be reflected by the education system.
I think it's wrong for them to be taught at a young age, to be taught sex education. Instead, they should be taught religious. Or if they're going to teach them sex, why not teach them religious as well?
And what's normal in most British schools poses some Muslims with a dilemma. Mixed gender classes, for example.
Okay, say if you was a boy now, and I had one conversation with you, and then after that conversation you thought, rah, I like that girl, and then you try to talk to me again and again and again, and then I start getting close and close and start opening up more, and then it can lead to sin. That's why it's hard.
We were on my parish prayer list, especially for Eileen and for Ruby.
Oliver Koss is an Anglican vicar who administers the minority Christian parish here in Small Heath.
To all whom we have commended to him.
He's well aware of the religious views of his Muslim neighbors, but in the wake of the Trojan horse debate, he cautions against making sweeping generalizations.
When we're talking about religious conservatism and equating it to extremism, which then leads us on to Islamism, which then leads us on to terrorism, you're entering into an entirely different kind of conversation. And I think that's why people get agitated about it. What they're really not happy about is being accused of being in league with people who would take violent means, especially violent means to overthrow law and order as it stands in the country.
That doesn't mean that intolerance of other religions should be allowed, says the vicar. This is where the government must step in.
I do have a concern as a Christian pastor for education, and particularly for the education of children who would describe themselves as Christian. It's important that their beliefs are respected as much as anyone else's.
Here at Birmingham Central Mosque, one of the biggest in the country, many parents are angered at the row being played out over their children. There's frustration in particular at the Conservative Minister for Education, Michael Gove. He's introducing new rules for the next school year, making it compulsory for all schools to teach so-called British values.
By using the word British values, we are actually perhaps not doing a service to the values that we all hold dear. Let's not say British values. Let's say human, decent values which are acceptable to all humans, and that then we are making it inclusive.
But inclusiveness seems to have added fuel to an already fiery debate about what it means to be British.
Every religion has got, their own right to, for their beliefs and everything. But at the end of the day, I do still think this is Great Britain, and I do think that our beliefs and our, religions and things like that should also be put first.
The accusations of Islamization are currently being reviewed, and more snap inspections are planned for schools in the future. But the role of Islam in British society is set to stay high on the agenda, especially ahead of next year's general election.